Hello, my name is Claude Prestidge. Eric and Kathy asked if I would talk on religion and medicine. I graduated medical school in 1968 and I specialized in pediatrics and pediatric lung disease. Religion and medicine is kind of a tough topic. We've all heard the joke about the doctor who goes to heaven and he walks in and sees somebody walking around with a white coat and a stethoscope. He says, "Who is that?" And they say, "Well, that's God. He thinks he's a doctor." Well, medical school training is somewhat like that. We're all taught flow sheets and protocols and what to do, but you have to have a lot of self-confidence to make life and death decisions and trust your judgment. Doesn't mean that you can't be wrong and that you can't doubt yourself, but you've got to be able, in the heat of the moment, make decisions that can mean life or death. And so as you're trained, you have to trust yourself. And really, you think you're in control. And it takes a little while to realize you're not in control. But it's hard to admit that. Religion, obviously, is a personal thing. And what you have to remember is the patient is the one with the illness. Some patients are religious, some are not. So in the heat of the moment, you have to let the patient kind of decide. If they say, "Will you pray with me?" you do that. But you can't force that on everybody. And because I did pediatric lung disease, I ran the cystic fibrosis clinic. When I started, life expectancy was about 12 years. And so for a period of time, I was having 3 to 4 patients die a month. It was really a dark time for me. And really, no matter how hard I tried, and I always thought if I tried harder, I could make it right. Well, that wasn't the case. The harder I tried, I still had the same results. And so I started questioning things like, where was God when I needed him the most? How could a child's death be part of God's master plan? I didn't have any answers for the parents. Moreover, I didn't have any answers for myself. So when I'd go in to try to comfort the patient's family after a death, I didn't know what to say. About this time, I met Rabbi Kirshner. He had lost a son from a congenital illness, and he explained it this way. By giving us the freedom to make choices between good and evil, God had to set some limits on himself. He couldn't control the forces of nature. I had to kind of deal with that. So I had to accept my own limits, but I also had to accept limits God placed on himself. Jesus doesn't guarantee a quality life. He does guarantee a perfect eternity. I had to learn when a patient dies, maybe I didn't do such a bad job. It wasn't my fault. It was okay to hurt, which I did. For the longest time, I couldn't go to funerals because I felt like that was a failure on my part. But I was part of their family, so when I finally started going, I think it actually helped the patients' families and helped me. What I learned from medicine is that you cure sometimes, you relieve often, and you comfort always. One of my favorite stories is, and you learn a lot from patients because you see their patients in their best times and their hardest times. But I had a young man named Kevin who was 11 years old who was really sick. I made rounds early in the morning, usually in a hurry, because I had 20 patients or so in the hospital to see before I went to the office. And I'd go pretty fast. And so I went in to see him, and he said, "I need to talk to you, Dr. Prestidge." Dr. P, that's what he called me. I said, "Kevin, can I come back after work and you and I have a Coke and we'll do it then?" He said, "Sure, that'd be fine." So I came back after work and I said, "Kevin, what do you want to talk about?" And he said, "Does it hurt to die?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to be with you and we're going to do the best I can to make it as easy as possible. Then he said, well, I have CF in heaven. I said, I'm pretty sure you won't have CF in heaven. I know you won't. He said, well, I'm going to miss my family and I'm going to miss you. And I said, I'm going to miss you too, but I'm pretty confident we're going to be together again at better times. And then he said, thank you. And I said, is that all you had to ask? He said, yeah, that's it. Matter of fact, that's it. I just had those questions. And he made it out of the hospital one more time, and his mother called me about a week or so after he went home. Said, you know what Kevin's doing? He's giving his toys to his brothers and sisters. He was making ready. And he died shortly thereafter. He was not afraid. In fact, of all the kids I've taken care of, they're afraid of shots, they're afraid of IVs. They're not afraid of dying. It's such a lesson. The kids, just simple thoughts, heaven, I'm coming. And really, the more I thought about it, I could deal with it. If they can deal with it, I can deal with it. But, it was still a hard thing to realize that we're not in control. And being a doctor, think I should be in control. And if I just try harder, everything's going to be okay. It's not always that way. But there is a perfect eternity, as Kevin really believed, didn't question. We need to be more like Kevin. Thank you very much.